Today, we're going to talk about my past, present, and future of books. What I've finished, what I'm in the middle of, and what we're going to get into. All right, so recently I finished the book Ghost Story by Peter Straub. Several people had recommended this book to me because I was looking for more books that had like a kind of like wintry, snowy themed horror, and this one definitely fit that bill. And it's also a story that is so much weirder than the title alone because you get into unconventional paranormal things that, like, okay, yeah, ghosts, cool, but the entities in this are a bit stranger. So it follows the story of these men who have been lifelong friends, and they have what has been coined as the Chowder Society. They all meet up and they tell these stories that may or may not be true. Usually they're on the scarier side or spooky. What happens is when they were younger, it's alluded to like what happened, but you don't find out till like way later in the book. Something bad happened. It involved an entity of sorts, and this entity wants its revenge. And the entity comes and slowly starts to try to pick these men off. And then it also ties into their family members as well. One of the family members, who wasn't even near them, like, he has somehow encountered these entities as well. And it's the story of, will they all die, or will they be able to somehow fight back? And how do you fight back against something that seems to be an immortal creature of sorts? It's a slow burn. I thought the characters were interesting. The different stories that kind of like layered into each other, they all fit together well. And just how you come into the story and one of the group had died, and it seemed like he had died of like terror or fear. He had left the house to his nephew and whatnot, and his nephew wrote a book and is an author. He wrote a book called The Night Watchers, and the story he told seemed very familiar to the men that were part of the Chowder Society. They were like, maybe he can help us, because they know that something seems to be coming after them, and they've been having these nightmares ever since their friend died. So for the good part of a year, they've been having terrifying dreams about their own deaths pretty much every night. If you like a slow burn, if you like wintry style horror, if you like stuff that's really weird and eerie and off the wall, I thought Ghost Story was quite a fantastic read. Currently, I'm in the middle of the book The Talisman, which is by Stephen King and Peter Straub. So I guess this is my second Peter Straub book. I just started it. It's about this 12-year-old boy named Jack Sawyer. His mother is dying, and he's going to set off on this epic quest to find the talisman, whatever that might be. And he has this talent that I haven't gotten to any of this part yet. This is kind of like the synopsis. He has this talent where he can travel between the worlds. And so the talisman loosely ties into the Dark Tower series. And I think most of it is just the ideas in the book with the traveling the roads that go into the other like worlds or dimensions. Like that was a thing in the Dark Tower series. And then there's also this idea of like the twinners, how in these different worlds, there's a person that looks just like me or you, and it's your twin, but like a doppelganger in that other dimension. So that, like, those ideas. And then from what I've heard from other people is that the sequel, Black House, ties in even more to the Dark Tower series. So after I finish this one, we'll definitely have to read Black House, and we'll see what I think of it. So far, I'm enjoying the writing. I feel like it's piqued my interest right away. You have Jack and his mother. They go to this hotel. They're in New Hampshire. He feels kind of like lost, and everything like doesn't really seem real around the edges. And then he meets this guy. What's his name? It's like Speedy. Speedy's his nickname. I can't remember what his actual name is. And Speedy works at this amusement park that's by the hotel that they're at in New Hampshire. And when he meets Speedy, like reality comes back and like stuff seems more clear and this, that, and the other. And it seems like Speedy may know a thing or two. Seems like he used to travel the roads, and he was a former jazz musician. And just seems like a very interesting character. There's one part where Jack is like on the beach and he's looking at the sand, and the sand starts to make like this weird vortex, almost like a tornado. And then at some point it freaks him out and he runs away. And that's about as far as I am in. I think I'm only about 30 pages into this book so far, but it's a big old chunker. And for some reason I decided this would be my first King book of the year. So it seems like a lot of people, this is like a hit or miss book with them. I find that I enjoy most King books. Like, I don't love all of them, obviously. I've always found them to be, like, decent to blew my socks off. And, yeah, we'll see what I think of this one. There will most likely be a standalone review for it. And let's tell you what I'm going to get into in the future. Over the years, I have become a big fan of Rachel Harrison. And I got her latest book, which is Play Nice. I know this was on a lot of like the 2025's best horror of the year, and I was just slow to get into it. There's so many books and not enough time, you know? All right, but we finally have this one, so let me tell you what it's about. It's just waiting for you to come home. Cleo Louise Barnes leads a picture-perfect life as a stylist and influencer. But beneath the glossy veneer, she harbors a not-so-glamorous secret. She grew up in a haunted house. Well, not haunted, possessed. After Cleo's parents' messy divorce, her mother, Alex, moved Cleo and her sisters into a house occupied by a demon. Or so Alex claimed. That's not what Cleo's sisters remember, or what the courts determined when they stripped her of custody after she went off the deep end. But Alex was insistent. She even wrote a book about her experience in the house. After Alex's sudden death, the supposedly possessed house passes to Cleo and her sisters. Where her sisters see childhood trauma, Cleo sees an opportunity for house flipping content. Only as the home makeover process begins, Cleo discovers there might be some truth to her mother's claims. As memories resurface and Cleo finally reads her mother's book, the presence in the house becomes more real and more sinister, revealing ugly truths that threaten to shake Cleo's beautiful life to its very foundation. And that sounds kind of awesome. So, Play Nice, Rachel Harrison. Also, some of my other favorite Rachel Harrison books, Cackle and Such Sharp Teeth. Those are my two faves. Cackle being my favorite. I love that book so much. I mentioned that probably too much. But if you haven't read Cackle and you like cozy witchy books, awesome. Okay, this next one is a random drive-by booking which is when I'm at the library, I go to the new book area. If the title intrigues me, I pick it up, I read the synopsis, and then we give it a whirl. And we're doing that with this one, which is The October Film Haunt by Michael Wehunt. 10 years ago, Jory Stroud was the rising star of the October Film Haunt, a trio of horror enthusiasts who camped out at the filming locations of their favorite scary movies, sharing their love of horror through their popular blog. And so that alone, sounded cool to me. I'm like, oh, they camp out at horror locations? First of all, that's terrifying. So that's a great premise. Okay, but after A Night in the Graveyard from Proof of Demons, perhaps the most chilling cult film ever made, directed by the enigmatic Helene Enriquez, everything unraveled. Now, Jory has built an isolated life with her young son in Vermont. In the devastating wake of her viral, truth-stretching Proof of Demons blog entry, hysteria, internet backlash, and the death of a young woman, Jory has put it all, along with the intense love for horror genre, behind her. Until a videotape arrives in the mail. This is never good. We all know what happened in The Ring. Jory fears someone might be filming her, and the Rickies, Enriquez obsessives who would do anything for the reclusive director, begin to cross lines in disturbing ways. It seems Helene Enriquez is making a new kind of sequel, and Jory is her final girl. As the danger grows even more unexpected and strange, Jory must search for answers before the proof of the movie's title finds her and takes everything she loves. Yeah, I don't know. Everything about that premise to me sounds great. It also sounds like it would make a really good horror movie. So yeah, the October Film Hunt. We will get back to you and let you know how this is. All three of those, I'm excited for. Usually I'm like, okay, I gotta pick the one I'm most excited for. I don't know. The October Film Hunt, I don't know the author at all, so I don't know. The Talisman, I'm kind of clouded by the mixed reviews I've heard from people. And then Rachel Harrison, some of her books I absolutely adore, and some I think are just all right. So yeah, I'm excited for all of them. Who knows? What have you been reading recently? Curious to hear what everyone's getting into in the new year. Let me know. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.